distinguished guests, Bond colleagues, our graduands, their families and their friends, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this ceremony this afternoon for the conferring of degrees in the Faculty of Law and the Faculty of Society and Design. It is my pleasant duty to introduce our Chancellor, Dr. Helen Nugent, AO.
Ladies and gentlemen, graduands, it gives me enormous pleasure to welcome you to this afternoon's graduation ceremony. I acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we meet, and I pay my respect to their elders, both past and present. One decision can change your life. In the words of the famous American poet Robert Frost, in his poem, The Road Not Taken, he said, "Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less travelled by, and that has made all the difference." Not so very long ago, you made the decision to study at Bond. You could have chosen another university. You could have chosen even not to go to university. Your decision to come to Bond will make all the difference to your future. When you started down this path, you could not know the experiences you would have along the way. The journey for Bachelor of Laws student Courtney Olden has taken her from team member of the International Criminal Court moot team in 2012 to student coach of the 2014-15 ICC moot team, which has already progressed to the international rounds of the competition. With a detour as chair of the student-led Bond investment group along the way, Courtney was also the convener of the Bond Sony Foundation Children's Holiday Camp, providing holiday entertainment for children and young people with special needs. From New Caledonia to Bond, via Italy, Sofia Zuccato's journey has had many twists and turns. From studying graphic design in Italy to studying architecture at Bond, Sofia has excelled during her sojourn here. Today, she takes home the Sahel Abedian Medal for attaining the highest grade point average in architecture. Sofia's work has also been chosen to represent Bond at the prestigious BlueScope Glenn Murcutt Students' Prize. The winner will be announced later this year. We wish Sophia every success. Each of your journeys are unique. We hope they will take you on many different, exciting paths as you leave here today. On behalf of the Council of Bond University and all the staff, congratulations on your graduation. We wish you every success on your journey, not just next week, next year, but through life. Congratulations. And now, ladies and gentlemen, falls to me the very pleasant duty of introducing this afternoon's occasional speaker, Mr. Jeff Healy. Mr. Jeff Healy joined BHP Billiton as Chief Legal Counsel in June 2013 and oversees the in-house group legal function that supports the company's diverse resources portfolio. Prior to BHP Billiton, Mr. Healy was a partner at Herbert Smith Freehills, or prior to that, Freehills, for 16 years, and worked across its network of Australian and international offices. His core field of expertise is complex corporate and regulatory advisory work, risk management, investigations, and disputes. Over his career, his very successful career, he has worked closely with clients on some of the more significant and complex civil and criminal-related investigations and disputes in Australia, particularly in the energy and resources sector, but as well in the financial services and telecommunications sectors. Mr. Healy has been an active member of the International Bar Association, International Litigation, and is currently the Australian Chair of that committee. He has also been a member of the New South Wales Law Society Professional Conduct Review Tribunal and undertaken work for a range of charitable and not-for-profit organisations over many years. Ladies and gentlemen, it is an absolute privilege to have Mr. Jeff Healy with us today. Can you join me in welcoming him?
Thank you for that introduction and for the opportunity to speak to you today. I would also like to show my respects and acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land, of elders past and present on which we meet today. Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, members of the faculties, distinguished guests, proud parents and graduates, I would like to begin by offering my warmest congratulations to each and every graduate. As I prepared for this address, I took myself back to my own graduation. I can remember so much of that occasion, but try as I have, nothing of what was said or who said it. On the safe assumption that I will do no better than the speaker at my own graduation, I hope to at least make a small contribution to this very important occasion. While I can't recall the speaker at my graduation, I can remember that stage in my life very well. My recollection has been refreshed recently by my daughter's final year at school and her first steps towards a tertiary education. The university open day that we attended as a family a few weeks ago brought back to me what an absolute privilege it is to experience an undergraduate education with the support of academic staff who tirelessly commit to helping us realise our aspirations. To the academic staff here today, congratulations on bringing forward another group of talented graduates, and thank you for the part you play in contributing to the political, economic and social fabric of Australia. So, what was I thinking when I sat where you sit today about a career in the law? Not very much is the answer. I had no expectations of professional life at this point. At university, unlike many of my fellow students, I didn't work part-time at a law firm as a paralegal. I didn't take up a summer clerkship in my penultimate year when this was the ticket to graduate employment. I was more interested in playing tennis and running my small tennis coaching business, which in the end, I should say, returned me a better living than my first year's salary and taught me many of life's lessons. At the end of my combined degree, I was fortunate to be offered a graduate position with one of the country's then leading law firms, Freehill, Hollingdale and Page in Sydney. Freehills was a very special firm with a strong entrepreneurial spirit, built on the flair of some very clever lawyers who could not, for reasons of gender, religious or ethnic bias, secure positions elsewhere. It was a place where people weren't focused on where you'd come from, but what you had to offer and where you were heading. With diversity now recognised as an organisational imperative all around the world, I was fortunate at a very early stage in my working life to see the enduring cultural impact of such progressive thinking. At the time, however, my mind was more focused on the offer of a free dinner 5 days a week, not then quite appreciating the link between this act of apparent generosity and an extended billable day. I walked through the doors of Freehills on 8 January 1990 to spend my first ever day in an office. My timing certainly wasn't perfect. I missed the excesses of the 1980s by a few days and experienced their recessionary consequences for a lot longer. When I walked out those same doors in May 2013, I did so personally enriched by the time I had had. As Freehills evolved from a Sydney firm to an Australian firm to an international firm, so I evolved with it. From running the coffee round to pushing the court trolley to establishing a vibrant practice to ultimately sitting on the board of Freehills with the Chancellor. Early on in my time at Freehills, my supervising partner told me that the law is like a tapestry, that my ability to draw different threads of the law together into a coherent understanding of our system of law would only occur over time, case by case, matter by matter, experience by experience. It is a great analogy for any career, in my view, and indeed for life. While the tapestry of your working life will never be finished, you too will have the satisfaction of seeing the colour and texture of your tapestry take shape. I left Freehills for BHP Billiton 18 months ago. At BHP Billiton, I have the responsibility for the operation of a global legal team. It's a new challenge for me, it's a new part of my tapestry, and it's a completely different perspective. So, returning to the core of today's address, what can I impart to you about this next exciting stage in your life? That is the question I've been asking myself for some time now. I don't have access to a set of rules about what it takes to succeed, or more importantly, what it takes to be fulfilled. The fact is, each of us is different. We have different objectives, we have different goals, and we have different talents. We have periods when we grow, and we have periods when we don't. Taking all of that into account, there are just 3 points I would like to leave you with. First, you must find your career calling. We all, in my view, have an inner voice when it comes to learning. You have heard that voice at school and you've heard it at university. You recognise that desire to learn when it occurs in a particular idea, in a particular topic or subject. It makes you curious, it gives you energy, and it draws you in. It does not speak in terms of financial reward. Money is a consequence of a career calling, it is not a driver of it. As I have observed many times, a pay increase is a source of satisfaction for no more than a few days before we turn our attention back to more substantive sources of fulfilment. Do not expect your calling to appear immediately at work. It takes time and it takes experiences. Be prepared to look for other roles to enliven that voice. Listen for it, and when it appears, embrace it. Do not be sidetracked and do not be tentative. I was not, like some of my peers, excited by the black letter of the law. To me, the law was the means by which problems were capable of being solved. It was the end point, not the beginning. My interest was enlivened by the problem, by the facts, by the many paths open to achieving a solution, and by the quality of the outcome. That was my way in, you will find yours. Second, you need to be resilient. A career is a marathon, not a sprint, as one of my mentors kept trying to tell me. You will have highs and lows. In my experience, one tends to follow the other in regular succession. If you manage to not get too carried away in the good times and not too down in the bad times, you will be better equipped to face the roller coaster of working life. The workforce can be competitive and it is not always fair. You need to control what you can. You need to turn up each day in a good frame of mind, be present, and give your very best in everything that you do. Do not be negative and do not be easily led. Maintain your values and principles and never compromise on them. If your employer does not share your values and principles, walk away. When you fall, which you will, shake yourself off and get up. A good attitude and consistent hard work will pay off. I have from time to time taken comfort from a quote from Robert Kennedy. He said, "Good judgment is usually the result of experience, and experience is often the result of bad judgment." Keep this in mind as you fine-tune your sense of judgment, perhaps the most valuable skill in professional life. At BHP Billiton, I have drawn on my reserves of resilience as I have made my transition. Last year, I was asked by my Chief Executive Officer to accompany him on a site visit to an oil rig in the Gulf of Mexico. What I didn't understand at that point was that I wouldn't be allowed to go onto this rig if I didn't pass a compulsory exam. That exam involved a simulated helicopter crash and an underwater escape. Trying to hold my nerve while escaping from an upside-down helicopter shell in a 30-metre pool at NASA in Houston left me temporarily bankrupt of reserves of resilience. My third and final point is that any successful career is a team effort. While building a career requires many personal attributes, it can never be a solo effort. If you think it is, you will not succeed. You must build authentic relationships with your peers and with those below you and above you. And you must have a source of support. For some like me, that has been from family members, but from others, it's friends and close colleagues. I commend you to listen to those who are willing to share their stories. Be respectful, treat people as you would want to be treated, and develop friends and allies along the way. Any expression of arrogance or lack of courtesy are understandably unacceptable in any team environment. When I was at Freehills, there was an anonymous upward feedback system in place. I became an expert at justifying to myself the feedback I didn't like. Eventually, I came to appreciate that feedback is a gift, that there is always something in it, irrespective of how you may first react to it. As a client said to me on one sobering occasion, "If I'm not happy with your performance, I don't have to give you feedback. I can just send the next job to someone else and you will never know." This was ironically the most powerful of feedback, reminding me that feedback is a privilege, not a right. In other words, a gift you should treasure. The fact that you are here today is evidence that you have already embraced these three notions. You are without doubt privileged on any global measure. You are graduating from a world-class institution. Your intelligence, your talent, and your self-discipline have opened up for you a world of opportunity. With privilege comes responsibility. Tied to your great head start is an obligation to use it for yourself, for those closest to you, and for your community. So challenge yourself, set goals when you're ready, believe in your ability to achieve them, and be generous. Today is a special day for you and your families and friends, one of the most significant of your life. You are at a pivotal point with so much achieved and yet so much to look forward to. It has been a great honour for me to be here sharing this moment with you. I congratulate you and I wish you a long, happy and fulfilling personal and professional life. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jeff said it was a privilege for him to address you today. The reality is it's been a privilege for us to hear him. I've had the privilege of knowing Jeff for well over a decade, and I would make these observations. He has found his calling as he suggested to you. He's found his calling in the law, but from the law, he's extended it into areas of problem solving, into areas of reaching out with his humanity, his wonderful interpersonal style, his teamwork, as he suggested. He always gives of his best, as he suggested that you do. He is a values-based individual. If in doubt, he always goes back to saying what is the right thing to do. Ladies and gentlemen, these are lessons that not just our graduates, but all of us take to heart. Thank you, Jeff, for addressing us today. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in thanking Mr. Healy.
Good afternoon, everyone. Will the graduands please stand? Chancellor, I wish to present the following graduands who are in attendance today for admission to awards of Bond University. From the Faculty of Law, 82 graduands. From the Faculty of Society and Design, 150 graduands. I certify to you and to the University that the graduands have satisfied the requirements for admission to the award for which they are being presented.
With the authority of Council, I hereby admit you to the awards for which you have qualified. I also admit to their awards those candidates listed in the graduation program who cannot be with us today.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was the moment of graduation. Congratulations. Will the most recently graduated class from Bond University please be seated?
Chancellor, the following candidates are presented for the award of Research Doctorates. The Doctor of Legal Science Research from the Faculty of Law, with the thesis title Jurisdictional Arbitrage, a comparative analysis of the treatment of income arising from patents in Australian Irish and US Irish jurisdictions, I present Philip M. Adams. And for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy from the Faculty of Society and Design, with the thesis title, Age-Related Declines, Detecting Mild Cognitive Impairment, I present Victoria Alexander. From the Faculty of Society and Design, with the thesis title, The Role of Employers' Organisations and Trade Unions in the Development of Climate Change Policy, a European Perspective, I present Peter Glynn. Also from the Faculty of Society and Design, with the thesis title, The Private Lives of Australian Cricket Stars, a Study of Newspaper Coverage 1945 to 2010, I present Roger Martindale Patching.
I now invite the Acting Executive Dean of the Faculty of Law to join me in congratulating each of his graduates as they are presented.
Chancellor, I present graduates from the Faculty of Law. The degree of Bachelor of Business Law, Ricky Fuo. For the Bachelor of Laws, Christina Belchi. Caitlin Louise Bond. Natasha Grace Chadwick. James Allen Diamond. Tam Alabasi. Bridget Lee Foote. Andrew Foister. Renee Hochstrasser. Xinyu Hu. Jordan Ka-King Ko. Emma Kate Keim. Hannah Rose Mangione. Johnny Ng. Pamela Jane Pierce. Drew Riley. Matthew Robinson. Adam Rodwell. Fabio Toso. Suzanne Wong. Xing Yangsemen. Lizette Jade Yates. Adrian Young. Dina Youssef. And Fana Zaweldi. For the Bachelor of Laws and Bachelor of Arts, Madison Hawkins. For the Bachelor of Laws and Bachelor of International Relations Business, Matthew John Jackson. For the Bachelor of Laws with Second Class Honours Division B, Violet Grace Atkinson. Keith Ong Kin Phai. Melanie Shanahan. Sean Lee Simpson. Stephanie Chloe Vicky Smith. And Gemma Frances Sullivan. For the Bachelor of Laws with Second Class Honours Division B and Bachelor of Arts, Emily McGregor. For the Bachelor of Laws with Second Class Honours Division B and Bachelor of Biomedical Science, Zoe Keishagen. For the Bachelor of Laws with Second Class Honours Division B and Bachelor of Business, Justin Loss. For the Bachelor of Laws with Second Class Honours Division B and Bachelor of Commerce, James Allen Lennox Poole. David Lloyd Pollard. And Simon Stephen. For the Bachelor of Laws with Second Class Honours Division B and Bachelor of International Relations, Nicole Renee Festing. Nicholas Cavas. David Leggett. And Rachel Young. For the Bachelor of Laws of Second Class Honours Division B and Bachelor of Social Science Psychology, Stephanie DeSantis. For the Bachelor of Laws with Second Class Honours Division B and Bachelor of Sports Management, Timothy John Simpson. For the Bachelor of Laws with Second Class Honours Division A, Nicholas Dodds. And Paris Gray. For the Bachelor of Laws with Second Class Honours Division A and Bachelor of Biomedical Science, Daisy Swindon Macmillan. For the Bachelor of Laws with Second Class Honours Division A and Bachelor of Business, Robert Jeffrey Leonard. For the Bachelor of Laws with Second Class Honours Division A and Bachelor of Communication, Courtney Mears. For the Bachelor of Laws with Second Class Honours Division A and Bachelor of Communication Business, Alexandra Vost. For the Bachelor of Laws with Second Class Honours Division A and Bachelor of International Relations, Adrienne Holly Davis. For the Bachelor of Laws with Second Class Honours Division A and Bachelor of International Relations Business, Rachel Cage. Melanie Hayden. And Madeline Wardleworth. For the Bachelor of Laws with First Class Honours and Bachelor of Commerce, Madeline Diffie. Joshua Sanderson. For the Bachelor of Laws with First Class Honours and Bachelor of International Relations Business, Ivan Mikhailov Mukharev. For the Graduate Diploma in Legal Practice, Darryl Tottle Fraser. For the Postgraduate Diploma in Dispute Resolution, Kirali Holmes. For the degree of Juris Doctor, Mahisha Balachandran. Sheetal Deo. Jamal Erika Al-Assad. Satinder Kaur Gossel. Yuqing Xiao. Tegan Emma Coote. Tao Nguyen Tan Lei. Liang Yu. Maharin Mirza. Catherine Peasley. Leah Vidovich. And Kevin Wiley. For the Juris Doctor with Second Class Honours Division B, Kenneth Kok-Kin Chow. Catherine Marie Stasiak. For the Juris Doctor with Second Class Honours Division A, Fiona Jane Buchanan. And Heather Gassel. For the Master of Business Law, Sarah Yasmin Castillo Gonzalez. For the Master of Business Law, Corporate and Commercial, Martin G. Hume. For the Master of Laws, Corporate and Commercial Law, Mitchell Potter. And for the Master of Laws, Dispute Resolution, Marie-Therese Kelly.
I now invite the Executive Dean of the Faculty of Society and Design to join me in congratulating each of his graduates as they are presented.
Chancellor, I present graduates from the Faculty of Society and Design. For the associate degree, Tatsuro Nishimoto. For the Bachelor of Arts, Shekinah Jessie Sherry O'Coin. Avni Gruol. Stephanie Louis. Kayla Natalie Milana. And Maxine Tan. For the Bachelor of Communication, Blaise Edwards. And Kelsey Louise Kerr. For the Bachelor of Communication Business, Lachlan Fee. Madeline Gray. Montana Gundry. Charlotte Johnson. Alison McNiven. Isabel O'Rourke. Leanne Jenica Rogers. Emily Stefanovsky. Natasha Stewart. And Madison Lee Tanner. For the Bachelor of Film and Television, Thomas Jeffrey Adam. Pak Ho Chan. Oslem Gundodu. Georgia Patching. Casey Nicole Radford. Ben Thankum. And Tennyson Tosti. For the Bachelor of Global Studies Sustainability, Jean-Pierre Pinard. For the Bachelor of Interactive Media and Design, Taylor Lewis Jackson Bett. And Benjamin Andrew Hare. For the Bachelor of International Relations, His Highness Prince Saud Al Saud. Wesley David Boothby. Samantha Gail Bradbury. Jane Elizabeth Cornish. James Gordon Christensen. Yahya Galeb Katramiz. And Madeline Rose Roberts. For the Bachelor of Journalism, Georgina Annette Bailey. Amity Jane Brand. Jessica Grace Huxley. Amy Levings, Mackenzie Rawn, Tegan Ridley, and Anjan Sacha. For the Bachelor of Psychological Science, Emma Langley. For the Bachelor of Psychological Science Honours with Second Class Honours Division A, Jordan Lee Gartner. Lee Richard John Hughes. Juan Chiang Lee. Kate Richardson. Rasangi Senaviratne. And Emily Jane Singleton. For the Bachelor of Psychological Science Honours with First Class Honours, Ryan Lasky. And Katerina Bokaran Needham. For the Bachelor of Social Sciences, Brittany Jenkins. And Mia Christie Pace. For the Bachelor of Social Science Criminology, Christina Joyce Evans. Cody Findlater. Emily Kierpirchnikov. And Peter Catherine Wilton Lester. For the Bachelor of Social Science Psychology, Dane Rock Kamara. Alira Cooper. Danielle Alice Herrin. Alicia Miller. Kayla Louise Stewart. Emilia Louise Sutton. Tallulah Antonia Teixeira. For the Graduate Certificate in TESOL, Monica Schuster. For the Graduate Diploma in Psychological Science, Lauren J. Callow. Snow Chen. Courtney Cassandra Daly, Callie Kirki-Palakis, Sean Kohler, Sarah Rizkala, Arabella Kate Smallhorn, and Emily Alice Wiseman. For the Graduate Diploma of Psychology, Carly Ann Riches. For the Postgraduate Diploma of Counselling, Margaret Frances Allen. And Bronwyn Elizabeth Lewis. For the Master of Arts by Coursework, Barbara Jean Stewart. For the Master of Communication, Beau Elizabeth Bridus. Louise Catherine Head. Ingeborg Lungard Kjærstad. For the Master of Criminology, Fahad Al-Kindi. And Laura McGillivray. For the Master of Criminology and Master of Criminology Professional, Serena Melody Spencer Davidson. For the Master of International Relations, Scott Douglas Blakemore. Sinead Carolyn Dumas. Lucinda Claire Jones. And Madeline Pugin. For the Master of Psychology Clinical, Sharon Elizabeth Devine. For the Master of Psychology Forensic, Alana Emily Osborne. And Olivia Han Ching Song. For the Bachelor of Architectural Studies, Dhruv Arora. Nicola Jade Blakey. Brittany Cook. Simran Dillon. Evangie Lewis Epper. Broden Finance. Fiona Casares. Jane Emily Lane. Lachlan Thomas McKelvey. Stephanie Louise Stockwell. And Jaden Scott Williams. For the Bachelor of Construction Management and Quantity Surveying, Simon Richard William Toby. And Yang Yu Ke. For the Bachelor of Environmental Management, Sustainable Development, Sarah Alexandra Cantwell. And Jacques Napoleon Chiami. For the Bachelor of Environmental Science, Sustainability Science, Sarah Blagrove. And Alexander Solakovic. For the Bachelor of Property, J. Leonard Darko. And George Duddy. For the Bachelor of Property and Sustainable Development, Gerald Tolentino Duncan. Gabriel Steiner. And Jacob Wallace. For the Bachelor of Sustainable Environments and Planning, Hannah Ellen Ditton. And Yana Miroshnichenko. For the Graduate Certificate in Construction Practice, Tyron Michael Robert Batty. For the Master of Construction Practice, Champion Robert Spencer Shaw. For the Master of Construction Practice Professional, Li Yuan Fan. Zhu Zhengyi. Lan Yu. And Zhao Jiechong. For the Master of Environmental Management, Sustainable Development, Natalie Yolanda Green. For the Master of Project Management, Mundir Mahmood Abdullah Al-Hassani. For the Master of Project Management Professional, Alpa Vilmachan Sanchetti. For the Master of Property Valuation, Christopher Graham Campbell. For the Master of Real Estate, Bingjie Duan. Chancellor, I present the recipient of the John Hardy Achievement Medal for 2014, Sharon Yale Rosenrauch. And for the Bachelor of Architectural Studies and the recipient of the 2014 Sohail Abedian Medal for Excellence, Sofia Kirina Zucato. And for the Bachelor of Laws with first-class honours and Bachelor of Commerce and the recipient of the 2013 Minter Ellison Medal, Courtney May Olden. Chancellor, the graduate selected to give the valedictory address on behalf of all those graduating today is graduating with the degree of Bachelor of Laws with first-class honours and Bachelor of International Relations. But he is also the recipient of the 2014 Minter Ellison Medal and the 2014 John F. Carney Gold Medal. Chancellor, I present Rupert Owen Holden.
Thank you, Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, distinguished guests, and of course, my fellow graduates. It is a real pleasure to be back on the Gold Coast and back here at Bond, especially because I've just completed a move down to Canberra, which for the benefit of our international guests is the city that absolutely no one recommended you visit during your time here. First, I want to congratulate all of you on what you've achieved through your years at Bond, for the hard work that you've put towards your degrees, and for the friendships that you've made during your time here. And I must admit that coming here 4 years ago, fresh from an English winter and just so pale, with an English accent that pretty much no one thought was real, I just could not have imagined that I would today have the great privilege of giving the valedictory address. I remember there were times where some of us didn't think that we'd make it this far, especially our first day at boot camp, where Professor Terry Geiger said to us, "Look to the right of you, and look to the left, and look extremely hard because one of those people is not going to be with you by the time that you graduate." Well, Terry Geiger was wrong, because Steph Smith and Rachel Young, the two girls I was sitting next to, are sitting down, degree in hand, so this cohort has beaten the odds. Congratulations. Now, for all of us, Bond has been an incredible place to study, and I don't want to step on marketing's toes too much by saying this, but I think that it needs to be recognised that by coming here, we've thrown ourselves into a world with unique and interesting opportunities that are very available for those who have the courage to come out and grab them. From my own personal story, I owe a debt of gratitude to Bond because Bond has sent me all over the world to exotic places, to New Caledonia, to France, to the Netherlands, to Brisbane. And these are the kind of stories that you hear all the time. But then there are also the kinds of stories that you don't hear all the time. And going again from my personal experience, I know that it's because of Bond that I've had the opportunity to talk about protein powder with Justice Kirby. Truly. I know it's because of Bond that I've had the opportunity to perform a moot in full drag, lipstick, dress and all, in front of the Dean of Law. And that's an experience that I don't think that you could get anywhere else. Now, I'm not telling you these stories to big note myself, but it's more to make the point that every single one of us here at Bond has been encouraged to come out of our shell in this kind of way. Because we're a small university, we help each other out, and our friends and our teachers encourage us all to do so much more with our lives, to get out there and just experience the infinite variety of life, whether it's having the courage to put your hand up for the very first time in a tutorial, or even going out for the vilest night of your life at Don's. Bond helps you get there. Now, during my final semester, so many people came up to me and they said, you must be so excited to leave. And that was a concept that I never really understood because I don't know who would exchange a day of having the freedom of getting up at 12 for 9 to 5 working life. But there was another reason that I didn't want to go, and that's because I know that throughout my time here, these years have been the happiest of my life, and I mean that very sincerely. And I look around and I recognize how many people in this room have been so responsible for making my time here so very happy. And for that reason, I want to give you some good parting advice as you step out into the world. I think that graduation is not only a time to reflect upon the impressiveness of our achievements, but it's also time for a little humility. It's a time to think about how lucky we've been to have the chances that we've had, that we've been born into the right families, that we were encouraged in school, that we had the right combination of natural ability and work ethic to steer us towards success. No matter how consistent your achievements are, you have to acknowledge that in the lottery of life, each one of us here have been thrown into a position of extreme privilege, especially considering that we know that others haven't even had a glimpse of the same kind of opportunities that we have. Now, because we are graduates, we know that there are women all around the world who are denied an education just on the basis of their gender. Not even 100 kilometers from Cairns, we know that there are children born into lives of hard labor and beggary. So the best advice that I think I can give you is to think hard upon the value of your education. And when I think about the value of education, my mind goes back to a story that I read at the beginning of this year, and it's called The Pearl by John Steinbeck. And this story revolves around a poor Mexican fishing community where the inhabitants are born and they grow up to be fishermen. No one in the village is educated, and as such, they're under the heel of their colonizers. And one day, a fisherman finds a pearl, and it's the greatest pearl in all the world. And as soon as he brings it back to the village, they say to him, "What are you going to do with this pearl?" And his first answer is, "I will sell it, and my son shall go to school, and he shall know how to read, and he shall know the books. And people from all over the village will come here, and they will listen to him speak, and we will be able to break out of this pot that holds us in." And then he imagines the words galloping off the page in the forms of animals, as you might imagine that an illiterate man could. Now, I tell you this story with the hope that you'll take 2 points away from it. The first is that as university graduates, you too will be in a position of influence where what you say matters and will have an impact. So remember always to conduct yourself with a sense of compassion and grace and courage, as we'd expect from a Bond graduate. But the second is to recognize that you have an obligation to share what you've learned with others who've not had the same kinds of opportunities that you have. And if you've come here and you think that the point of your education was exclusively for your own benefit and that all that's left for you to do is to make money to spend on yourself, then in my opinion, you've learnt nothing. Now, to conclude, I've started my time at Bond with a quote from Charles Dickens, actually, all the way in my interview back in 2009 when I was asked to talk about my hero. And I wanted to end my valedictory address in the same way. And this is a quote that I tell myself every single day, and it's not necessarily groundbreaking, but what it is a recipe for a happier life and a little resilience. And it goes simply, reflect on your present blessings, of which every man has many, not on your past misfortunes, of which all men have some. So if we apply that today, we stand in this graduation hall surrounded by the people in the world who love us most, the people who've supported us most, and the people who are so proud of you and everything you've achieved. Even though we must say goodbye to some people that we'd rather not say goodbye to, we know that neither time nor distance ever separates true friends. And most importantly, today we leave here as Bond graduates with the world at our feet. So good luck. Thank you.
Well, I sense from the reaction that Rupert captured the spirit, the essence of a great valedictory address. Rupert's had the courage, the grace, and the compassion to seize the moment and the opportunities that Bond provides. I suspect Rupert, even with his English accent, could have captured them anywhere. But I think it's been our privilege to have Rupert amongst us. He truly is a quite remarkable individual. That's reflected in his academic results. He received 33 high distinctions and 5 distinctions during his time at Bond. We really do wonder about those 5 distinctions. But earning high distinctions was not his only outstanding achievement. He was a member of the winning team in the Australian Law Student Association moot competition in 2014, and he was named as Best Oralist in the competition. I think we have seen today why that is the case. Rupert was also the student coach of the Bond moot team that won the 2014 National Voiceless Animal Law moot competition and the student coach of the moot team that were semi-finalists in the 2013 Environmental Law moot competition. That is a part of the way, but just a small part of the way, that Rupert has given back. He leaves Bond to take up a graduate position, or he's left Bond to take up a graduate position at the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade. We know that we will hear much of him in the future. But for the moment, for seizing the moment, we thank him, we congratulate him, and I ask you to join me in thanking him once again. I now call upon the Vice-Chancellor and President to read the Bond University charge to the graduates.
Will the graduates please stand? I charge you as graduates of Bond University to demonstrate at all times the highest moral and ethical standards, to apply and to continue to extend your learning to the benefit of society, to strive through your actions to promote the universal worth of all people, to pursue the highest standards in all of your endeavours so that in fulfilling your personal goals and human responsibilities, you add to the standing of your university, and to support and uphold your university and its alumni through engagement with the Bond Alumni Organisation and your own personal commitment. Graduates, do you accept that charge? That wasn't the greatest response, was it? Graduates, do you accept that charge? Yes. That's better. You may now be seated. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're almost at the end of formalities. Thank you for bearing with us. But I would like to make just a couple of comments to our graduating class of February 2015. First, as our valedictorian, Mr. Rupert Holden, so articulately expressed, the journey by which you have arrived here today has been one which you haven't made alone. And I'm not necessarily talking about your classmates here. I'm talking about your family, your parents, in some cases grandparents, your siblings, in some cases your spouses and partners, your friends, some benefactors of the university, and just generally your circle of support. Many of those individuals have assisted in all different ways. Many of those individuals are in the audience today, and they are proud of your achievements, and they are beaming inside. They want me to hurry up so they can grab you, they can kiss you, and they can hug you. But I think it would be appropriate if the graduates were to turn to those in the audience here today and acknowledge, by very generous applause, your thanks and acknowledgement for their support. Some people say that life is measured by moments, and if that is the case, then surely this is one such moment. I trust that you recognise the significance and the symbolism of today's ceremony. You are now departing from this university, but you are not departing in spirit. I trust that what we have taught you, the standards that we have imposed, the requirements of behavioural and ethical applications that you have learned serve you well. You will be tested throughout your future careers. And I trust that when you are tested, in those really difficult moments, in those moments when you don't quite know what to do or how to do it, or whether or not you should take the right path, I trust that you're able to look back on your time here at Bond, and you won't hesitate for a moment to say, I know which path I should choose. I should choose that path which would make my family, my friends, and my alma mater, Bond University, proud of my decision. We are now joined forever. The reputation of this institution is not forged by the magnificence of the campus surrounds. It is not forged by the magnificence of the sandstone buildings. It is not even forged by the expertise and professionalism of our staff. Ultimately, it will be forged by the deeds and achievements of our graduates. There are now 25 years of Bond graduates who have gone before you. Just over 20,000 individuals. You will now join a global network of Bondies. And I trust that you'll always remember with great fondness your days here. But I also trust that you remember that your behaviours, your actions, your attitudes, and your decisions will reflect upon the reputation of this fine institution and on the reputation of your fellow classmates. I wish you well You will always be welcome back. Each year, we hold a homecoming weekend. This year, it will be between the dates of the 14th and 17th of May. Each year, many of those 25 years of graduates come back to campus to share in festivities, to expand their network, and to simply to have a great time. I invite all of you to come back this May as part of the graduating class. It has been a great pleasure, an honour and a privilege to get to know many of you. I really do wish you well. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a fairly long ceremony. You've been extraordinarily patient, almost too polite, dare I say. So here is an opportunity to make a bit of noise for the graduating class one last time. So let's make a bit of noise for them.